Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet and Good Torah. So we're coming up on the holiday of the 17th of Tammuz. It's a fast day, and it starts a period called the 3 weeks, and it's 3 weeks of mourning from the 17th of Tammuz into Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Ab. And we're going to see there's 5 tragedies that happen on this day, and it's set up a day of mourning, but we're going to see also how in the future this day of mourning is going to be transformed into a day of celebration after the coming of Mashiach. And we're going to look into the root of like what caused this to be a day of mourning, and also what's in this special holiday that's going to be a great day of celebration. Okay, so let's jump right in. So the 5 things. So the first great tragedy that caused this to be a day of mourning was that this was the day of the Chet HaEgel. This was the day of the golden calf. And then Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem told him to come down from Har Sinai, from Mount Sinai, and he had in his hands the first set of the luchos, the tablets, and these were actually they were made of sapphire stone, and they were actually rectangles, not the rounded top. I don't know how the rounded top got so popular, but they were actually rectangles, and they were made of sapphire. And Hashem, the first set, Hashem carved them himself out of the sapphire, and then Hashem wrote the lettering. He wrote the lettering on both. And the letters were miraculous, and these were the letters of the Esther Dibros, the 10 Commandments. And you can see, if you looked at the front of it, you saw all the letters. And if you turned around and looked in the back, it still appeared to be the correct way. So the letters, whichever side, were the front-facing way. And then the letters, such as like the Samach, which is like kind of like a circle and has a little piece in the middle, that piece floated miraculously. It should have fell off. You engrave fully, you carve fully through something, and the little circle should fall. But it miraculously floated in the air. And these, and the broken bits of the first luchos, first tablets, and then the second tablets are kept in the Aron HaKodesh, in the Ark of the Covenant. And B'ezrat Hashem, Mashiach will come soon, and the whole world will get to finally discover the Ark of the Covenant, like Indiana Jones. All right, so let's see. So the first thing that happened is it was the golden calf, and instead of the day of receiving these luchos, it was the day of this great avera of the golden calf, and Moshe broke the first set of tablets. The first set of luchos were broken on the 17th of Tammuz. So then the Tamid offering, the daily offering in the Beis HaMikdash, in the temple, so this stopped during the during the first temple, when the Babylonians were sieging the temple. And so on this day, on the 17th of Tammuz, there was no more sheep to keep making the Tamid offering, and that stopped. And then 3 weeks later on Tisha B'Av, both of the temples were destroyed. The first temple was destroyed by the Babylonians, and the second temple was destroyed by the Romans. Okay, so on this day, the 17th of Tammuz, the walls of Jerusalem were breached, and this was prior to the destruction of the second temple by the Romans. And then a Sefer Torah was burned on this day, and the Gentile's name is named Apostomus. And I think there's a machlokas. Did it happen during the second temple, during the Roman Empire, during the second temple, during the days of the Greek Empire? And Apostomus may not be, I don't know if that's his real name or that's kind of a nickname that was given to him. And then an idol was placed in the Beis HaMikdash, in the temple. So I think this happened twice that I know of. So Menashe HaMelech, King Menashe, who was the son of Chizkiyahu, and Chizkiyahu, or Hezekiah, is translated as one of the greatest kings of the line of David, of the descendants of David HaMelech, King David's descendants. And Chizkiyahu, he got everyone to do teshuvah, and he got everyone back in their hearts and minds back to the Torah and the mitzvahs and following Hashem. And then he saw through Ruach HaKodesh that he was going to have a wicked son. So he didn't want to have children. And then Yeshaya, Hanavi, Isaiah the prophet, was sent by Hashem to talk to him, and it says, you're going to die. And Chizkiyahu is like, well, I don't want to have children because I saw, my son's going to be wicked and do extremely wicked things. And Yeshaya says, it's not for you to, it's not for you to worry about. You have children, and maybe what will happen is maybe you will marry my daughter, and maybe the holiness between yourself and the daughter of this great prophet, you'll have great children. But unfortunately, right, Menashe was very wicked, and he put a idol into the Beis HaMikdash itself, into the temple. But it's interesting because if Chizkiyahu didn't have this son, if he didn't have this wicked son, then there would be no more line of the kings of David HaMelech, of King David. But also there will be the future descendant in this line of kings that will be Mashiach. That will be the Mashiach ben David. So it was really important that Chizkiyahu had children. So right, sometimes we're just supposed to do what we're supposed to do, and it's up to Hashem what's ultimately going to happen. All right, so that was the 5 tragedies that happened during the 17th of Tammuz. And let's go back and let's see originally what happened with the Luchos. And we're going to go back to Sefer Shmos, the book of Exodus, and we're going to go to Parsha Kitisa, and we'll see what happened with the first set of Luchos and the golden calf. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I lost my place here. Let's see if I can find it real quick. All right, so it says here, in the pasuk. So it's chapter Lamed Beis 32, which is interesting. That's Lev, the heart of everything's here, and it's pasuk. Let's see, it looks like it's the end of pasuk. Looks like it's pasuk Beis, maybe the second pasuk. Okay, so it says here Vayikahel ha'am al Aram, and then the people. The people, they gathered against Aaron, or on top of Aaron. Now, who were these people? The Midrashim tell us that these people were not Am Yisrael, but they were actually the Erev Rav. That this people was the Erev Rav, and these were the people that came out with the Jewish people out of Mitzrayim. So there's different interpretations of who the Erev Rav was. I think the Zohar says that they were actually sorcerers and magicians. And magicians and sorcerers, they work on different levels. Just like as there's levels of holiness, there's levels of magic, and these were different levels or degrees of magic of these sorcerers, and they're mixed. That's called, they were the Erev Rav. Other opinions is that there was a mixture of all kinds of nations, there were all kinds of nations living in the Egyptian Empire, and they came out. So whatever was these Erev Rav. Now the Midrash also told us that the sons of Bilam were also great sorcerers, and their names were Janos and Yambrus, and they had a direct role in the creation of the golden calf. So, right, we can't just push off and say, oh, it was the Erev Rav's idea to do this Chet HaEgel, to do this golden calf, because the bottom line is, whatever, okay, they had bad ideas, and they weren't good, but we should never have listened to them, and that's the key. It's not that, oh, it was these other people came out with a bad idea or evil idea, it's like you can't listen to it. So they said, Vayomru Elav, so they said to him, they said, Kum Ase Lanu Elohim, or Elohim in this case, Asher Yelchu lefanenu ki zeh Moshe ha'ish asher lanu meretz Mitzrayim lo yadanu me hayilo. So they said to him, they said, rise up. They said, make for us gods, or a new Elohim, a new God who will go before us. For this Moshe, this Moses, this man, and they're saying, Moses is just a man, and a man can pass away. A man's not immortal. So the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, and also they misspoke here. They were purposely lying because it was Hashem that brought us out of Egypt. It wasn't Moshe. It wasn't a man that brought us out of Egypt. It was the great power of Hashem, of this infinite being that brought us out of Egypt. And they say we don't know what became of him. So now Aaron was trying to delay them from building the golden calf. So he said to them, he said, Vayomer Alechem, he said, Parku nizme hazaka v'sher be'azne neshechem. So Aaron said, remove the golden rings that are in the ears of your wives. So Aaron knew that no one's wife is going to take out her golden earrings, especially for a horrible idea. And the women didn't. And the Jewish women are smarter than that. And they say, no, you're not going to have my earrings, for the stupid idol you guys want to build. So Aaron HaKohen was trying to delay. So he said, remove the earrings, the golden earrings that are in the ears of your wives, B'nechem, your children, your sons, U'menosechem, and your daughters. Daughters probably wouldn't have given the earrings either. V'haviu Eli, and then bring them to me. Back in those days, the minhag that everyone wore earrings. We're not going to go into that so much right now. Okay. V'yis parku kol ha'am es nizme hazaka v'sher be'aznechem. So then the entire people, they quickly took off, they removed these golden rings that were in their ears, and they brought them to Aaron. But we know from the Midrashim and other sources in the Gemara that it was only the men that did this and not the Jewish women. So vayikach miyadam v'yatzar oso b'cheret. So he took it from their hands. He took these golden earrings. Not right now. He took it from their hands and he bound it up in a scarf. Ya'asehu ego masecha. And then it was made into a golden calf. And we know from the Midrashim that these sorcerers, Janus and Yambrus, they took this tablet, it may have been a golden tablet, I don't know what it was made of metal, and on the tablet it said Ale Shor, and this was the same tablet that Moshe threw into the Nile River, and this brought up the coffin with the bones of Yosef Atzadik, of Joseph, so that when we left Egypt, that Joseph, his remains could be brought out of Egypt and brought to Eretz Yisrael, brought to the land of Israel, and buried there. So, and Ale Shor means arise, like up ox, and out of this, for some kind of magic kishuv came this golden calf, and then the Midrash even told us that this thing like talked, and it was saying, I am your, I think he said like Ani Hashem, like this calf was saying like I'm your God, Israel, worship me, and they said, so Vayomru, and then Yambrus and Janus and Zerah, they said, Eile Elohecha, Yisrael. They said, these are your gods, Israel. Asher He'elucha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. It's very fascinating. They're trying to divert Jewish people's attention away from Hashem and say, no, these are your gods. This is what brought you out. Moshe brought you out of Egypt. This magical golden calf brought you out of Egypt. And they're trying to divert us away from Hashem. And it's happening now through, the Hollywood movies and the TV shows and the news and all these things are trying to divert us away from Hashem. But it's up to us not to listen. So they're doing this, but we don't have to listen to it. And that's the key. So Vayara Akron Vayiven Mizbeach Lifanav. And then Aaron saw all this that was happening, and he built a Mizbeach. He built an altar before him. Now this is really cool. So then he said, Vayikra Akron Vayomer Chag LaHashem Machar. So this was on the 16th of Tammuz, and the next day was going to be this day of the 17th of Tammuz. So Aaron said, tomorrow on the 17th of Tammuz is a Chag. It's a festival for Hashem. The 17th of Tammuz is a festival of Hashem. It's a festival of Hashem, and we're going to bring offerings to Hashem. It's a Chag, just like Pesach, just like Passover is a Chag. It's a Chag just like Shavuos, the day we heard Hashem speak. On the 6th of Sivan, we heard him speak when we stood before Mount Sinai. That's a Chag, that's a festival, just like Sukkot. That's a festival. Just like, the rabbis instituted the festivals of Hanukkah and Purim, just as those are festivals that this day was designated to be a festival. This is not designated to be a day of mourning. This is designated to be a day of celebration. So what really is the celebration of this day this is the day that we were supposed to receive those, those first luchos, those amazing, like, 2 rectangles of sapphire, and it had engraved by Hashem, engraved himself, the letters of the Esther Dibros of the 10 Commandments, and we see that there is something miraculous, and just our connection is so deep to Hashem on this day, and there's such a celebration of connection to the Torah and receiving the Torah, and we're mourning because instead of this celebration right now, we've listened to this Erev Rav. We've listened to the multitude of nations around us, and we've listened to their misinformation, their fake news, if you will, their lies. And what we have to do is we have to stop listening to that. And we're mourning now because we listen. But in the days to come, Hashem will send Mashiach, and He will, reawaken, and Eliyahu, Hanavi, Elijah the prophet, and they will reawaken our hearts to the beauty of the Torah and the mitzvos, and we'll listen again to Hashem, and we'll listen to Hashem's Torah, and we'll stop listening to these lies and disinformation from the nations around us and the Erev Rav within us, and Bezrat Hashem should come soon. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a meaningful fast for the 17th of Tammuz, and Bezrat Hashem, one day we'll all be in Eretz Yisrael for this amazing celebration where everyone will look forward to the great festival of the 17th of Tammuz. All the best, and hope to see you again soon on Sweet and Good Torah.